What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated TonyTGD. And again, I am joined by the mistress of manga, the anime queen herself, Bianca from Myself in Comics. What's up, Bianca?
Um, I'm doing good. I do not go by this title.
That's what I've heard. This is what
Yeah.
people on the street have told me to call you. I don't know. So how you been doing? You've been watching a lot of animes?
Yeah, it's been watching a lot of animes. In fact, I went to go see an anime movie a couple days ago.
Oh, did you? Oh, did you? I knew a girl in high school named Anime.
What?
Yeah, Anime Jenkins. Uh, she had a buck tooth, missed one ear. Weird girl.
What?
Anyway, so what'd you go see?
I have a favorite series of me and my brothers. Maybe me and my brother have a favorite series. It's called Psychopaths, and this movie was the prequel to the third season.
I was gonna guess One Piece or
What? No, that movie
Naruto.
came out a long time ago.
So what the hell is Psychopaths? Before we get into the Chainsaw Man discussion.
What people have told me, like every time I say what it is, people are like, "Oh, so like Minority Report," and I'm like, "The what?" And the thing is, like, I didn't know what a Minority Report was, so I thought they were. I'm like, "Are you saying something jokingly offensive? Like, am I supposed to laugh? I don't get the joke." They're like, "No, no, no, it's this thing, and it's very similar to Psychopaths." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I thought it was a joke I didn't understand. I'm sorry.
Thought it was a joke. I was too minority to understand.
And a minority said that also. So the one who told me was a black man, and I'm like, wait, what the frick you talking about? Minority Report? What are you trying to say, bro?
So sounds lovely. But we watched not Psychopaths. We watched Chainsaw Man. We were gonna watch the first 3 episodes, but Bianca was so enthralled by the show. She's like, I gotta watch 2 more. So we watched
Ha.
five episodes. Chainsaw Man. What do you think? What do you think overall? You
It's a
loving this show? You're not loving it?
it's fine.
High praise. Everybody's so hyped about it. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, Chainsaw Man, so great." I think it's a little overrated. I didn't think it was that good. It was interesting. It was something. It was a thing that I watched. Uh, it was shorter. The episodes were like 24 minutes, 20 minutes if you cut out the end credits and the opening credits. Right. So they're pretty short episodes. The Baki that we watched, I think, was like 40-minute episodes, something like that. These were a little on the short
Yeah,
side.
some like 20. Yeah. I think that's because Bucky's a lot older. Like to have an anime with 24 episodes nowadays is not that common, and I believe it's because of the economy.
It could be possible. I have not read the manga, and I was only vaguely familiar. I knew Chainsaw Man was a guy with chainsaws, and it was about devils or something. And that was like the extent of my knowledge of Chainsaw Man going in. What about you? Were you familiar with this?
Uh, I did not read the manga. I saw some memes. Almost everybody I know was talking about it and recommending it. And I was like, yeah, I'll get to it when I get to it. Everybody was putting a lot of hype on this show. And I was like, maybe it'll be good. Maybe it won't. I'll just, take my time with it, I guess.
All right, so let's get right into it. Let's jump into it. First episode, Dog and Chainsaw. I saw it in English. I didn't see it in the original Japanese with subtitles. I
I
saw
also
it
saw it in
dubbed.
dub.
So, uh, Dog and Chainsaw, first episode. We're introduced to Denji, young teenager. His father dead. He owes a bunch of money to some yakuza toughs, and they're basically like, "Hey, you work for us. You kill some devils will pay you some money. You work off your debt. Uh, as part of the paying off his debt um, that he does, he also apparently just cuts down trees. I guess you could just cut trees down in Japan. Like there's no like logging permits. He just cuts trees down whenever uh, the itch uh, gets him. So he's struggling to make it, to make ends meet. He's not really eating food. At one point, one of the Yakuza guys basically is like, "Hey, I'll give you like 100 yen, was it like $10 to like eat a cigarette?" Uh, and Denji rapidly agrees, pops a cigarette in his mouth, pretends to eat it, and which was weird because like it's already in your mouth at that point. Why does it just swallow it, right? Like,
I thought it would disintegrate, not disintegrate, dissolve, because it's paper, isn't it?
well, yeah, it's paper and then like all the stuff inside, the tobacco and all that.
So like before he had the cigarette, um, from the way it was Chainsaw Man, I know he like does what he does, but because of how he looks, like I know for a lot of anime having the quote unquote shark teeth, it can be a normal for a person. But because of the way the show was and how I've been hearing the show is, I literally thought he was a demon this entire time. And he has a little dog pal that's also a demon, and so I'm like, okay, demon and demon, you know. And then like because he ate he even though it was pretend, when he put the cigarette in his mouth, I'm like, oh, okay, he's a demon, so it's not like it's gonna hurt him or anything. But before that, he was walking. He has an eye patch, and he was saying how much his body parts cost. Like, oh, it was like one eye was this much amount of money, and then oh, this one testicle was this amount of money. And I'm like, dude, did you just give away your eye and your testicle for money? I'm like, oh wait, you're a demon, you're fine. And then I realized he's not a demon, he's not one, so he really did give up his eye and his testicle. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was weird because in a world with demons and people making contracts and stuff, you would think that would be more expensive, right? To have like an eye that you could trade away to a demon for power. And it's just like, yeah, it's like it was like $100, like it's 500
Was
bucks.
it, did he give it to a demon? I thought he went to some doctor or
No, that's what I'm saying.
underground.
He went to a doctor and they bought it from him, but you would think because that doctor is going to sell it to a guy who's going to use it for a contract or something, probably, right?
Mm.
I'm assuming they're not actually like popping it into someone else's head. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can see that. And then like I completely missed out on the debt part. I'm like, wait, how did he get in debt again? I thought he was always poor.
His dad apparently, because there's a flashback. The
Ah.
dad owed a bunch of money to the Yakuzas, and basically, the dad kills himself, commits suicide, unalive, toaster bath, however you want to phrase it for YouTube. Uh, the Yakuza are like, "Hey, kid, who's like 8 years old, you owe money. And I don't care that your dad killed himself. You got to pay it off, and make sure you have $30,000, or yeah, 30, it was like 30,000 yen, by tomorrow." Which I know it sounds a lot because like, oh my god, but it's like I think 30,000 yen is roughly a couple $100 or something. So it isn't as much as it seems, but it's still a hefty fee for a little kid. And that's when he meets Fuchida, this little hot dog that has a chainsaw for a face, and it's injured. And Denji says, "Hey, I know that demons will heal if you get blood, so I'll give you some of my blood, and then we'll be buddies, we'll be friends." And that's how he gets the little chainsaw dog, and he's using the chainsaw dog to hunt demons, and he kills a demon, and he tells the Yakuza guy, "Hey, I'll kill demons, and you could pay me, and then I could work out my debt." That's how they come to this agreement that he's going to be killing demons, and then working off how much they're worth for the Yakuza. But we find out later in the same episode that the Yakuza aren't exactly, they're not having devils killed for public safety or anything like that, right? They're using them for their own means. They want to get power, and apparently they have made a deal with the zombie devil. But unfortunately for them, the zombie devil is like, hey, they all agreed to like be my bitch for some power, but turns out I screwed them over, and now they're all zombies that are under my control. And they trick Denji to go to a warehouse because supposedly he's going to kill a devil, but they trick him, and that's when the reveal happens, and he's attacked, dismembered by a group of zombies, and he dies dead. Were you surprised that he died so soon in this anime?
Um. Well, I knew there was like a contract or something to be made, so I was like, yeah, the killing in the first episode seems on brand.
Uh, During they for some reason, like again, now they're zombies. They dismember him, and then they just throw his parts into like the trash can. They don't eat him. You would think zombies would eat him or whatever, but no, they just throw him in a trash can, and his blood seeps into Cheetah's mouth, and she's like, "Hey, I can bring you back to life." I'm calling it a she because animals are always she, but she's like, "Hey, I can bring you back to life."
I thought it was confirmed it was a boy.
Probably is, but in my head, like animals are always like I always refer to animals as she. It's weird. It's a weird thing I do, uh, especially when it ends with an A, Puchita. Like it was Puchito, I'd be like, "Oh, it's a boy." But anyway, it's a devil. It doesn't have a gender. Do devils even have genders?
Do gods have genders?
No, they're like above. They're like kind of different. Whatever. Uh, Point is, before we go off on a weird tangent about whether or not mythological beings have genders, uh, and we don't want to misgender them and get canceled by the great cancellation devil. Uh, Blood gets into the little chainsaw dog's mouth. He makes a deal with Denji. I will become your heart, and I will give you my power in exchange for you uh, finally achieving your goal. And his goal uh, was that he wants to find a woman and touch some boobies. Because
And money.
yeah, well, yeah, money, but the boobies
And
mostly.
food.
But mostly the boobies, because he's like 16.
Mostly the boobies.
He's like, hey, I'm 16 and I haven't touched boobies yet. And I'd really like to. He's like, it would be really awesome if I could touch some boobies. And now, this is where I kind of have a problem with the show, right? Because he is a 16-year-old kid, right? With a chainsaw dog who apparently doesn't go to school, right? And he's not drawn ugly, right? He's not like an ugly, other than the missing the eye. But I mean, women, there would be plenty of women out there who would have allowed Denji to touch some boobies. Is what I'm saying. It's not like he's not like a neck beard with the fucking fedora on, and you're like, oh, okay, I gotta understand why this guy hasn't touched some boobs, and he probably won't ever. And that's like, but no, he's just like a normal looking dude. I was like, hey, why is this normal looking
Yeah,
dude?
he's average looking. Like, he's not bad looking at all. I'm guessing he just doesn't have good social skills or something.
I guess, but he has good enough. So that's the thing, like, because his dad kills himself, and the kid, I would assume the kid raises himself, or because they don't really explain. Does he go to an orphanage? He just kind of like raises himself. Right?
I thought he just raised himself.
Yeah, but he has a father, so obviously the government knows he exists. And when the father dies, I would assume that the government would say, "Hey, there's a kid out there that dad's dead and no one's taking care of him."
Nah.
It's an anime. This is anime logic. He just raises himself.
Exactly.
And so but he has enough social skills in order to like convince the mafia, the yakuza guys to like make the deal. And he's talking normal. He doesn't seem, like he doesn't have the social skills, like the guy from Waterboy, right? No, he seems like he has some social skills. So it's again, it was just a little weird. It's like, this kind of doesn't. I guess it makes sense. It's like anime logic. Just don't think about it too much. But he gets the little dog, becomes his heart. He gets a little pull string in the middle, his chest, pulls it out, becomes Chainsaw Man. He's got chainsaws on his arms, chainsaw on his head, cuts up all the fucking zombies, kills the zombie devil, and we get a group of public safety devil hunters. They bust in and they're like, "Oh shit, everybody's dead. Where's the zombie devil we were gonna kill?" Like, "Oh, he's dead. It's awesome." There's a guy with a chainsaw for a face. You think
And
maybe he's the bad guy? It was weird though because again, like they bust in, they're supposed to be like hunting zombies. They know they're going after the zombie devil, right? And they show up, and all the zombies are dead. And there's like chainsaw guy, and they're like, "That might be the zombie devil." I'm like, "No, he's not. He's obviously not. This like obviously he just killed all those guys that are cut up that look like a chainsaw just went through them. The guy standing is probably the guy that killed them. Maybe he might not be a bad guy, right? At the very least, two devils fought, is what I'm saying." And you're just like, "Hey, I don't know. This might be the zombie." Like, no, it's not the fucking zombie guy, right? And then the pink-haired leader of the group, she goes over there. She hugs Denji and goes back to his human form. And she's like, "I'm going to make you my pet." And then that's how the episode ends. And I was like, wow.
bruh.
Yeah.
She a groomer.
It came off weird. Like I said, it was just a lot of things were just weird. I guess you just got to go with it. And you're like,
I didn't think that this was how it was going to start it at all. I was like, okay, so I know this girl, seeing her around, and I'm like, okay, so how do they meet? And she was like, if you want, you can become my pet or you can die. I will say that if you become my pet, you get food. And I was like, he's not going to say yes, is he? No
obviously,
way.
you don't know 16-year-old boys when confronted by a semi-attractive woman offering food.
But like he said yes, obviously, but he thought about it and he's like, "Wait a minute. Hold up. Did I just F up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you did, bro. But you also didn't want to die."
So, second episode, Arrival in Tokyo. It picks up right where we left off. We got Denji and Makima, which is the pink-haired lady's name. They're at the little like rest area getting food. He's trying to eat. She's clarifying the agreement that they've made. You know, he is now her pet, and he will be working with her, but not with her. Right? She's like the boss. You're just like a dude. So you're gonna go out there and you're gonna work with this guy named Aki Hayakawa. He's got a little top knot. He's all business all the time. Unlike Denji, who just wants to fuck around, Aki, he's totally professional. And he takes Denji out on patrol, and then he tells him to get the fuck out of here. Says, "Hey, just leave." And apparently, Aki kind of likes Makima. They got that. He got that like, "Hey, that's my woman. Why are you looking at my woman?" type vibe.
Saying
So
like,
he's
"Oh, she's too good for you," and I'm like, "Bro, do you like her? Do you like her, bro?"
he was simping hard.
He's a hard simper.
So he's like, "Hey, get out of here." And then he's like, "Hell no! You know, I want some food. She might kill me. Whatever. I'm here to stay." He's like, "No, dude, you don't have a goal. I want revenge for my family, and you're just like you're just here farting around." He's like, "No. And that's when Denji's like, "Hey, I want to touch boobies. That's my goal." But they get into a fight, him and Aki, and that's when Denji says, "Hey, we're fighting." And when two men fight, you kind of like punch me in the stomach and stuff, and you're like doing some shit. It's like, no, that's not what you do. You just go for the balls. And he proceeds
Literally.
to kick Aki over and over again in the nutsack. Now I don't know how it is in Japan. I'm not Japanese. I've never been to Japan. I don't have any Japanese-born friends. I don't watch Japanese TV. But here in America, at least in this city where I live, that's foul. You don't do that. Like, there's like an unwritten rule, right? When men fight, never go for the nuts. Never. That's like the unwritten rule. That's like taboo. Like, it doesn't matter if you win. If you hit somebody in the nuts, you lose by default, right? That's like you are seen as a
Not for the
pussy.
person who got kicked.
No. I mean, seriously, like if I'm fighting another guy and I kick him in the balls and then I proceed to beat him up, people look at me like I'm a pussy, like because I hit him in the balls. Like that's like among men, at least in my generation, that's like a no-no. You don't do that. And it's there's literally like been studies about the psychological and biological imperative to not hit somebody in the balls. And the reason why, like you ever see like somebody get hit in the balls and like everyone starts laughing, right? Ever see
Yeah.
that? Okay. Apparently, and I'm gonna go on the little like tangent for a second, but apparently there's like a psychological reason. People believe that the reason why it's funny that when people get hit in the balls is in order to de-escalate a fight. So if two males were fighting and one of them gets hit in the balls, everyone starts laughing in order to de-escalate the fight so that the guy who gets hit in the balls doesn't lose his testicles and he can still proceed to eventually have kids. Like we're the humans are so wired. Like, wait a minute, they're like, oh shit, we got to stop this. Like things are gotten too far. Like it's
To me, it
wired
was
in us.
just funny because it's somebody getting hurt.
Yeah, but apparently it's like a psychological thing. Like kicking.
Interesting.
I know that. Like I
It's
said, there's
probably
like
the
a whole
same
study
thing
on
with
it.
females too, then, after that trend
But
of
either way,
TikTok came out.
kicking a guy in the balls is bad. He does it anyway, repeatedly, and then he takes Aki to Makama. It's like, hey, he got attacked by the testicle devil. And Aki's like, no, you made that. He's like, no, really. That's why he's injured, because the fucking testicle devil attacked him. Which I
I
thought was
do
a little
like the
funny.
way, by the way, like we spoke about this a little bit before, but like Denji is not really a fighter, but he definitely doesn't mind playing dirty, so he just kicks in the balls.
Yeah. But then we
I
get
felt
introduced to Power, who is not a devil, but a fiend. Apparently, fiends are former devils that take the form of humans
I
or
didn't
something.
even understand it, and I watched it with subtitles.
Yeah. Apparently, it's like a demon uh, that becomes human-ish and loses some of their powers. It was like a really goofy explanation. But either way,
But she was also called the Blood Devil, not the
yeah.
Blood Fiend. So that part was like, I'm like, wait a minute.
Okay, so apparently, fiends are devils that have taken over human corpses as their last means to survive. So, like, let's say a
Ah,
devil's gonna die and then it goes into a human corpse. So now it's reanimating a corpse, and that's why part of their power is lowered. So it's like a devil in a corpse suit. So she's the blood devil inside a dead woman's body, essentially.
not gonna lie, when they showed her like literally just decapitating, killing animals, and just literally putting her face in there and like drinking all the blood, that I felt so uncomfortable, especially with the noises, the slurping noises, and I'm like, no.
Okay. Now, again, here's where I have issue, and I know Tony, you're thinking way too much. You're overthinking this simple show about a guy who turns into a chainsaw man. But
Mhm.
the devils are supposed to be, and it's not explained until the next episode, but the devils are supposed to be like what you fear, right? That's why there's like a bat devil, a gun devil, a katana devil, you know, a mother-in-law devil, late for work devil. But what the hell is a blood devil? Like, are we afraid of our own blood? Is this a thing?
I mean, that's a phobia that exists.
Yeah, but
I
there's
think
lots of
people
phobias.
associate blood with death.
But then wouldn't it be a death devil?
Yeah, I just thought of that the moment I said it.
People are scared of devils. Is there a devil devil? I am the devil devil. Like right?
Not just a devil.
Yeah.
But I think that like people are afraid of blood. Well, not just afraid of blood, but maybe blood loss. I don't
Here's
know,
the
something with blood.
But like, see, that's the thing. Like, there's a gun devil, right? But
I found
apparently,
that as super stupid.
yeah, and we're skipping ahead. But there's a gun devil, and is it explained that the gun devil exists because of gun violence? Which so shouldn't it be the gun violence devil? You're not scared of the gun. You're scared of the gun, like or the
No, I'm afraid of
terrorist,
the gun. What are you talking about?
or like the robber devil. Aren't you afraid of robbers? Like no, because a gun is just like an inanimate object. But anyway,
I'm more afraid of what the robber would do than the actual robber.
but I digress. We find out that hey Denji, you're special. You can turn into Chainsaw Man. Power is a fiend. They don't tell you why she's named Power. She's a blood devil named Power, which I don't know. But anyway, you're on this special team, and you're gonna go out on patrol, and you're gonna be useful to us because that's where shit happens, right? And they go out there and they're looking for a devil, and they find the sea cucumber devil. And again, like, are people afraid of sea cucumbers? Is this a thing that?
I feel like this is supposed to be the comedy part, and I'm just like, okay. It's like if you have a fear, it exists. But what I was wondering is like, oh, there's a gun devil, but is there more than one gun devil? Like just because the gun devil is gone doesn't mean you being afraid of guns will be gone.
It's like a revolver devil and like an automatic devil, a rocket launcher devil. Like it's weird, right? But she jumps from the building, turns blood into a hammer, kills it. Sea cucumber devil dead, and that's how we end that episode. There wasn't a lot of action in it. There was a lot of talking and a lot of setting up the world of Chainsaw Man. But episode 3, Meowie's whereabouts. This is where things start shaping up a little bit. We find out that killing this devil has attracted people's attention, and they're like, "Hey, that was actually the target of like some other devil hunters. They shouldn't have killed that devil. That was not marked for public devil hunters. That was like private devil hunter contract or some shit." So they're kind of mad, but they're like, "Hey, but you killed it, so it's kind of cool, right? We'll just say this is a wash. You guys won't get in trouble, but you're not going to get praised either." So, Denji being a dude, Power looking like a chick, he's like, he tries to put on the charm. And so Power is like, hey, there's a bat devil that has kidnapped my pet cat. If you help me go get my pet cat back, I'll let you touch my boobies. Denji's like, I can touch your boobies? He's like, yes, let's go. Boom. They're like, hey, we're gonna break out of the headquarters because they're not supposed to leave the building. They break out, and they're like, we're gonna go kill fucking Bat Devil. Go to what seems like to be an abandoned house. He's like, all right. He's like, that's where it is. And he's like, yeah. He starts like putting it together. Like, wait a minute, something's like your story's not making a lot of sense, right? Like, there's some of the things. And she's like, no, don't worry. Like, Bat Devil's in there. We go get the cat. It'd be all good. But that's when Power knocks him out. She drags him to the house and she says, hey, I'm going to feed you basically to the Bat Devil. Bat Devil's missing an arm, I think, and get some of Denji's blood. He's like, it tastes a little weird, but hey, it did the job. I got my arm back. I'm all ready to go. But he's like, I'm not going to give you your cat back. And again, this is weird, right? Because I was under the impression that when devils make agreements, they had to stick with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he made the agreement, hey, go get me a guy, go get me a human, and I gave you the cat. She brings him a human, essentially, and he doesn't give her back the cat. I didn't think he would be allowed to do that. It's like, flag on the play, you violated your devil contract. But I guess, whatever, like, the show's like inconsistent about whether or not that matters. So he swallows the cat, swallows Power, he takes off. Denji gets up, he's pissed. goes out there, turns into Chainsaw Man, fights Bat Devil, eventually beats the Bat Devil, frees Power and Meowie. He's all conquering hero. He's gonna get to touch some boobies. And that's where we were gonna leave it until Bianca's like, "Hey, watch 2 more episodes." Why did you suggest 2 more episodes, Bianca?
Because I was irritated at the third episode. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need to watch 2 more. Like, I can't really handle this. I'm really not liking it. When I saw those last two, I'm like, okay, I think it's somewhat better, a somewhat more positive experience, but I'm still just like, I'm less conflicted, at least.
Well, what didn't you like in the third episode?
Him wanting to cop a feel, and I'm just like, I'm so annoyed right now.
That's
And I'm like, you
gold.
talked about some boobs so much, and it was just so annoying to me. And she was like, I hate Power was like, I hate people, but I love Meowie, and I would do anything for Meowie, and he's like, I understand, I would do anything for boobs, and I'm like, that's not the same. That's not the same.
The weird part for me, and again, it's probably because I'm overthinking things, but he's been told that she's a fiend, and fiends are essentially devils wearing dead body suits. Those are like dead lady boobs.
Hey,
Right?
boobs are boobs,
No, I
so
don't think that they are. That sounds like a coroner talking, and I don't think boobs are boobs. I think when boobs have died, those are like not boobs anymore. Like those are like
is that why they look weird? But
they're
I
part.
couldn't. It's like, despite this being a show that's seinen, and I'm like, okay, it's for adults, but like, you're still covering nipples. Does she have nipples? Do nipples exist in this world?
Yeah, there was some flashbacks of her being out in the woods, naked, running around, uh, and they did kind of like sort of showed, but like it was like you said, it was like a weird way they covered it up. It was like maybe it's just a shadow. Maybe she just doesn't have nipples. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, it wasn't great. The Bat Devil had a pretty nice design. I like that.
Oh, he looked cool.
But again, like they basically say in this episode, when Makima's in the car with Aki, she's like, the more people fear something, the more powerful the devil is, right? And that's why I'm like, are people afraid of chainsaws? I don't think most
Uh,
people think about chainsaws, like to
I
be afraid of them.
personally don't.
Like I'm afraid of a chainsaw wielding maniac, but how many of them are there, right? Besides like Jason, like is there really like a lot of like chainsaw murders that you're like, shit, I'm afraid of chainsaws? Like a guy with a chainsaw could just be running down the street right now. Like,
Yeah, I'm more afraid of guns than
yeah, that's
with
what I'm saying.
chainsaws.
So I would think that like Chainsaw Man would be like pretty weak, right? Like bats are
It's
more
so weird
scary.
because I don't think I felt like he doesn't apply due to him sort of kind of being a fiend himself. Because Pochita existed, but the Pochita didn't really do anything and never showed its actual form, or unless that is its form, I don't know. But like, it was adorable little puppy.
Yeah, but he's whooping ass. He kills the bat devil. I would think that bats, being an animal that's been around for hundreds of years, people have seen them. They know them. There's been all kind of legends about them. Vampires have
Mhm.
spawned out of the idea of bats and vampire bats. I would think that a bat devil would be pretty high up on the list. Right?
Can't wait for a
Chainsaw,
wolf devil.
chainsaw, pretty far down. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Especially because like chainsaws are pretty modern of an invention, right? So it's only like a couple. I think it's like 100 years, 100 plus, give or take, as far as being around. Whereas like a
Mhm.
knife has pretty much been around since the birth of man, when we sharpen sticks. So I would think like the stabbing
True.
devil should probably be like pretty high up there, and the chainsaw guy pretty low. But
I got a question. Like, what did you think of Power's like personality personally?
a little annoying. Like,
Okay, so I wasn't the only one. But I just started looking her up on Wikipedia, and because we were talking about Fiend and stuff, and I'm like, okay, let me see if I can find something else. I ended up reading more like not even skimming. I'm mostly just read some random parts here and there. Went all the way down to the trivia and read that her characterization is based on Eric Cartman.
no, there's no way.
It was in a French interview the creator did in 2020. And I said, I see it.
I
I
do.
kind of see it.
Uh, I wouldn't have put that together, but now that you've said that, and yeah, I could definitely see Power and Eric Cartman having very similar uh, personalities.
Especially when she tries to put the blame on Denji for something that was her fault. She's like, no, 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 no. See, devil don't lie, right?
Yeah.
So, like, only people lie. And I'm just like, yeah, I can see that as being an Eric Cartman thing. Only Jews lie. Or redheads.
Uh, yeah. So we had a really really interesting episode. Then episode 4, Rescue. They beat Bad Devil. Powers. We get a little flashback of her, being like she doesn't care about anybody. She only cares about eating blood. And we get a lot of animal mutilations, but then she learned to love the cat, which is again weird because she's a devil and she's not supposed to care about things. But this cat, which she originally was just going to fatten up to eat later, she got attached to it. I don't know if this is like because of the human shell that she's wearing and like the humanness is seeping in, or if a devil was actually given a chance, a devil would have compassion. It's not really made clear. Uh, and also, Denji puts his hand up because he's really excited, and I want to say it gets shot off his arm, but I'm not. It's never really made clear because immediately after his hand gets like you hear what I think is a gunshot, and then like his hand, his arm goes fucking flying off. The leech devil eats it, right? And I'm
Yes.
like, did the leech devil knock his hand off? And like, we just didn't see what happened, or did something else happen? And then like the leech devil just showed up because the gun devil is in the next episode, right? So it's like, was that like the gun devil shooting his hand off there, and then like that's gonna lead into something later?
I I'm trying to remember that part.
Like I said,
I
he
remember
literally just puts his hand off, and you hear like, and then like there's a hole in his hand, like goes flying off. It's really, and then like I said, then just the leech devil shows up and like eats his hand
Oh,
out of there.
okay. Yeah, I had no idea what was going on, and I'm just like, what was that? I guess I didn't really pay much attention to that part.
Yeah. So him and the leech devil are fighting, and the leech devil uh, is weird. It's got arm nipples, and then like nipples hanging, like huge long nipples hanging out of its chest. It should be the nipple devil because there's like nipples everywhere, but it's the leech devil. Uh, and again, like, are we scared of leeches? Like, the leech devil seems to be kicking ass. It's like me
I'm
and
kind of scared of leeches.
I would be too, right? Like, if I saw a leech, right, I'd be like, oh shit, it's a fucking leech, right? I don't know a leech on me, but it's not a thing I think about on a day to day basis, right? Like, I could probably
True.
go months without ever thinking about leeches, right? So I would think that like most people just wouldn't think about leeches. It's not a thing that is in the public conscious. So like I would think it'd be weak because not. But again, I don't know how it works. Anyway, overthinking. Uh, he's getting his ass kicked, but he's like, "Hey, I want to touch boobies. My dream is to touch boobies. I've won the the deal. I'm gonna touch boobies." And the leech devil's like, "That's a stupid dream. Me and the bat devil, we're gonna eat everybody. That's a real dream." He's like, "Fuck you, my dream versus your dream. Let's go." And so he gets more motivation to fight, but he's still losing. And that's when Aki shows up, and he puts his hand in this like weird position, and the leech devil's inside the hole. He's looking through his hand, and then he's like, "Yeah, go ahead." And then fucking giant wolf head just comes. It's not a wolf head; it's a fox head comes and eats the leech devil's face. And
Yes.
he's like, "Hey,
Coolest part.
should I swallow it?" And he's like, "Yeah, go ahead. Swallow the leech devil." And they take Aki and Power and Meowie and to the hospital and the vet. Everybody's all fixed up, and eventually, Denji wakes up and he gets told that when he got a blood transfusion, his arm magically fused back because they found it inside the leech devil. And Aki explains that no, he's not friendly with that devil that showed up. That's the fox devil, and every time he uses it, he has to give up part of himself. And this time, he gave up some skin on his arm to the fox devil, which seemed like a really bad trade on the fox devil's part. Kill the devil for a little bit of skin. Uh, we live in a society with skin grafts and stuff, so it's not like Aki's totally ass out and he's never going to get that skin back, right? He can pretty much probably get that fixed in no time.
I was gonna say, does it have to be like a part of you, Because can he just do a strand of hair?
Yeah, like how much, right? Like, is there a ratio to matter versus what you do?
And what part of the skin did you take off? Do you regenerate?
It didn't. His whole arm was wrapped, so you really didn't get to see. But I'm assuming it was a big chunk.
I'm gonna clip my toenails for you. Here you go. That's a part of me.
So yeah, so he's got a contract. He's like, hey, all of us have contracts. All of us hunters contract with devils in order to do what we do. And then he's basically like, hey, you guys fucked up, and I can tell on you, and you guys will both be dead, you and Power. Or I can keep it a secret, but you got to do what I say, right? You got to, abide by my rules. And Denji's like, we'll see about that, right? We'll see. So they go back to the apartment and they're chilling out, just doing their day by day things. When you get a knock on the door and the knock gets louder and then the doorknob gets popped in. And who is it? It's fucking Power. That's right.
Mom. Oh, dang.
Makima's like, hey, you got a big apartment, Aki. How about you have Power as a third roommate? Enjoy. Apparently, she has no house training. She doesn't want to take baths. She doesn't know how to flush the toilet. And overall, she's just a terrible, terrible roommate.
I just
However,
didn't understand because she used all of the toilet paper for Denji. Like, he was taking so much time in the bathroom and he used a lot of the toilet paper, but that was because he was like poor, I guess. I don't know. But I'm like, girl, you should not be wasting all that toilet paper unless you got IBS. What is going on with you?
I don't think she knew because remember she was out in the woods.
Well, but there's a bathroom in the facility she was living at.
Yeah, this is why I don't understand. See, like because on the one hand you're like, oh, well, she grew up in the woods, right? Then you're like, no, she didn't because she's a devil, which means she's like hundreds of years old, and she's obviously watched the world, and she should know how these things work, right?
She says she purposely chooses not to flush.
Yeah, and so I guess she just stuffed that paper in there like for the fuck of it.
Yeah, I can see that. Eric Cartman, am I right?
Yeah. Anyway, Denji's in the bathroom. She busts in. She's like, "Hey, I'm gonna let you touch my boobs. Remember those boobs that you were gonna touch? I'm gonna let you
They're
touch
right
them.
there.
Not just once, not just twice. No, you get three booby touches. Enjoy." And that's how we end the episode with Denji's dream about to come true. He's gonna get them boobies.
I was literally like, there's no way. There's going to be like an interruption or something.
Episode 5, Gun Devil. And this picks up again. I appreciate that it picks up right, like when one ends, and like the next episode picks up right after. It's not like you know, the day later, and they kind of fill in. Oh, well, here's what you missed, and you know, in the transition. No, it's like picks up immediately. She's like, touch my boobies, and he's all scared, which again is weird, right? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I would think he'd be overexcited and not like super like frozen in fear. But eventually, he does touch her boobies, gives him a little squeeze, but something falls out. Turns out she had a padded bra on. She's like, "Oh, those were pads." But don't worry, now they're gone. You get 2 more squeezes. Touches him again. Touches him a third time, and he's all just out of breath. He's so shocked at touching boobies, and then he's utterly disappointed. He's just like, "That's it. That was the thing that I wanted to do for so long." Uh, Underwhelmed. He was underwhelmed with the boobies, which I found weird, right? Like I don't know. Yeah, you think it was weird that he was underwhelmed?
No, I was actually, I didn't think he would touch boobs this early, and so I was like, if he touches them, and he's like, well, now that I touch them, what do I do? Moment, and that's what kind of ended up happening, and I'm like, oh gosh, so he did it. So like you preached 5 episodes of wanting to touch boobs, and now you touched them. And I'm like, okay, so maybe this is a thing where like he doesn't know her, and so he probably has to touch boobs of somebody he actually likes to get that wonderful feeling that he's hoping for. So that was like my second thought. And then
This is
when
how
this,
I. This is how I know it was written by someone who's never touched boobs. It don't matter whose boobs you're touching. Pretty much, you touch boobs, you're enjoying it. I don't think any man has ever touched a pair of boobs and has been underwhelmed. Uh,
I
that's
thought I thought the reason he was like was feeling underwhelmed was because they ended up being padded.
No, the pad falls out, and then so he touches the second and third boob touch are
No, I know. I know if the pad falls out, but he still ends up touching it. But like there was still a pad in there and his face was like disbelief.
no, like I said, I think either way, padding, no padding, no, there's no guy, there's no 16-year-old man on this earth who touches a pair of boobs, and he's like, I don't, what was the big deal? You'd be excited, you'd be like, holy shit, I want to do that again. Like his goal should have been like, I want to keep touching boobs, right? Like I touched them and it was awesome. I want to keep touching boobs. That's what would make sense to me. Apparently, I'm not Japanese, so what do I know?
What?
I don't know. Maybe it's a cultural thing. I guess it's the only way that makes sense to me because again, I would not be underwhelmed. Big, little, uh, we don't care. Boobs, boobs. And he touched them. He should be excited, happy. He
Well, I
doesn't.
know the creator is was born rather 1992 or 1993, so he's rather like 29 or 30. Gosh, dang. He's only older than me by like 2, 3 years.
Either way, uh, he ends up, in a funk, and eventually Makima is like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And he explains to her, "Hey, touch some boobs." Wasn't really excited. Wasn't really a thing. I thought it was gonna be awesome, and it wasn't really awesome. And she's like, "That's because you didn't like the person. You gotta touch boobs of a person you like." And then she like gets really erotic with him, and she's like holding his hand, and she's like biting his
No,
thumb,
she
and
wasn't. She wasn't saying that. That it's because you don't know the person. It's because you have to be like extremely intimate with the person, like somewhat sexually,
yeah, know them.
to
You have to know them. She goes, know
like
the way their
know.
hands feel, know the way their ears are, know them in a biblical sense.
And I was, the people goes, "Ma'am, this is assault."
Yeah. Well, either way, and then she lets him cop a feel on her boobies, and he freaks out again. Like he's like, "Oh, boobs!" And like he like fucking has a heart attack. which again was like, really? Uh, so then she's like, hey, have you heard about the gun devil? And he's like, no, what's the gun devil? And apparently in this universe, the gun devil uh, is brought about because there was a rise in gun violence, and then the media, which I thought was really good, that they said like basically the media made such a big deal about gun violence that it created a hysteria around gun violence, which birthed the gun devil. Also, there was like a terrorist attack. Uh, didn't make a terrorist devil or a plane into building devil. Apparently, terrorist attack equals gun devil. I don't know. And I'm pretty sure that was 9/11, but they didn't call it 9/11. They just like there was a terrorist attack, and then they show like twin towers, like with smoke coming out of them. I'm like, that's 9/11. But just say it. We all know what it is. It's like showing planes crashing into ships on a like beautiful beach in Hawaii and be like, I don't know what that is, but that happened. Like it's Pearl Harbor, fucker. Just say it. Anyway, so the gun devil, and she's like, we got these little bits, and they look like bullets. Like these are little bits of the gun devil. He moves so fast that he loses parts of his body. I'm like, those are bullets. Like I could see if it was like little bits of metal, just scraps, but like that's literally just a bullet. Like you don't think that maybe he's just dropping those, or like after he shoots that, like that's the casing, the bullet casing afterward, or whatever. She's like, they're attracted to each other, and so we're gonna get a big enough piece, and then that's gonna attract us to the gun devil. She's like, if you kill the gun devil, because no one can kill the gun devil, if you can kill the gun devil, I'll give you whatever you want, anything you name it, I'll do it. Any wish. And he's like, anything? She's like, anything. He's like, even, and she's like, even that. You could have whatever you want. He's like, hell yeah. And at this point, I go, she's a bad guy.
Yeah.
She's a bad guy. She has to be. She's a devil. I don't know what devil she is, but she's definitely a devil. Because
I didn't even think that far.
Contract. She said, I can give you anything. And only a devil would have such a ability to like grant you any of your wish, right?
Or just a really powerful human being.
No, because there's certain things he could wish for that she just like a normal person, no matter how powerful you are, you could never do. Like he's like, I want to fly, and she's like, well, here you go. Like
you're on a plane.
You're on a plane. Just really fuck him over. Like here you go. Here's a hot air balloon. You're flying. No, but like I say, like it to me, she's a bad guy. She's the bad guy. She's a devil. I'm calling it.
I don't know about being a devil, but I'm like, yeah, she's definitely manipulative. Like I don't know. She definitely has power in the workplace.
Well, no, power's back at Aki's house, but I mean,
well, yeah, of course.
Anyway, so we also find out that the gun devil is the one who killed Aki's brother. That's right. Because the gun devil killed 1 million people. And we get a nice little family scene of Aki's sickly brother. Was Aki the sickly one, or was the other? I think Aki was not the
brother.
The brother was sickly, yeah. So the brother's sickly, and he's like getting taken care of by the parents, and Aki's like, I want to go play baseball, Dad. And Dad's like, your brother's sick, and we got to wait on him hand and foot. He's like, Dad, you're always like that. It's bullshit. And she's like, hey, sick brother. And the brother's like, no, I'm cool. I can go play. And I'm like, hold up. The brother's sick, so they're taking care of him. Then the brother goes, I'm not sick. I can go outside. But originally, Aki wanted the dad to come play. But when the brother gets up, the dad's not like, hey, I'll go with you guys, right? The dad's like, just cool, fuck it, go. I don't care. We've been watching you sick in the bed for who knows how long. And you just get up and we're just like, cool, just go. I hope you don't die outside in the snow. Sick son, who apparently needs to be waited on hand and foot. But whatever. Maybe I'm just a better parent than Aki's parents, but who knows? They go outside, they're playing. Eventually, Aki's like, stop following me, little dick. He's like, but I'm your brother. And they start throwing snowballs at each other. And what starts off as a get away from me snowball fight turns into a ha ha ha, we're having fun snowball fight. And
nobody hit each other in the balls. 1 out of 10.
On face. definitely, if that was me and my brother snowball fighting, he would have like ran up on me and just like started pummeling me in the face because he's older and he's a dick. Uh, but anyway, they have a nice friendly snowball fight, and Aki's like, "Your hands look cold. Maybe if we go put on our baseball gloves, your hands will warm up." And he's like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, let's go play some catch. Go get the mitts." And he runs inside, and boom, the fucking house gets destroyed. If only he wasn't like, this is like, hey, if you were mean to your brother and didn't tell him to go get those baseball mitts, he'd be alive. What a lesson to learn.
I was gonna say he was the one who wanted the mitts in the first place. Why didn't he just go get them?
Yeah. So Aki lives, everyone in the house, and like a million other people dead. And again, I'm confused because Gun Devil, giant explosion. Is he a giant gun?
I think he's a regular gun. Maybe he just has power in the. I'm just gonna call it a blowhole. I don't know.
The muzzle, you mean?
Oh, it's
That's
called a muzzle.
that's the front of the gun.
No,
Where
that's
the
dum
where the
dum.
bullet comes out of.
A muzzle. This ain't no dog.
So yeah, it was really weird. Like it's a huge like you know explosion. Nothing that I would makes me think gun devil. It made me thought like cannon devil or like a missile devil. But gun devil apparently has done this. All those people are dead. Uh, and we also learned that Aki is underneath um, Himeno, which is another member of the little like special division team.
Hmm.
She had a bunch of dead partners. Aki, she's like, "Hey, don't fucking die on me. Like, be useful because those people they suck. That's why they're dead because they suck. Don't suck." And he's like, "Don't worry, I don't suck." She's like, "Better not suck." So they become
Yeah, I
friends now.
love that combo.
Apparently, they're friends. So they're all sent to a building. He said, "Hey, we picked up readings of the Gun Devil. So maybe there's a piece of the Gun Devil because apparently, if you eat a piece of the Gun Devil, you become super powerful like the Gun Devil." Which is weird. I thought when she's like, "Hey, if a devil eats this, they'll become more powerful, right?" And I thought she was going to give it to Denji to eat to get more powerful. I thought that's what they were going with it, but no, she's just like, "Yeah, see, these are powerful, but you can't have them." They killed like a giant fish that apparently had also eaten a piece.
Oh, the thing was gross.
I guess that's the fish devil. But so they're going to this like apartment complex. It's fucking Aki, Himeno, Power, Denji, and then two other people, a big knucklehead named Arai, and like this scared little girl named Kobeni. And basically, they're like, "Hey," Himeno's like, "I will give somebody a kiss if you beat the devil that's in there. How's that sound for some motivation?" And Denji's like, "Nah, I don't really. I don't know you. We're not cool. I don't even know your name. I don't think I want to kiss you." And she's like, "Fucking French you." He's like, "Hell yeah, let's go. French kiss sounds great."
I
Uh,
can't, bro. I'm done.
so she's like, "Yeah, I will French kiss you, Denji. The other dude, you just get a kiss on the cheek because fuck you." They don't really say like if the other chick, Kobeni, if she kills the devil, they're gonna get a lesbian kiss because it's implied that she's doing this for the two dudes, right? But there is a chick that's also in the group, right? So I'm not sure that that's motivation for her, but whatever.
What
Uh,
did it? How did Power react? I don't even remember.
she didn't care. She was just like whatever. She just wanted to kill something. Uh, we also find out that Himeno has made a deal with the Ghost Devil. She gave up an eye to get a ghost hand. And eventually, Power, being a dick, was like, "What are you guys going to do if I try to kill this bitch?" And then they ghost choke her. It's like, yeah, you like that. This ghost hand is choke the shit out of you. They find a devil. It's a little head with a foot and a hand attached to it. They kill
Cool.
it. They're like, yep, we done that. It does not have a piece of the gun devil, so like that's not what we're looking for. They go up the stairs. Nope. Turns out they're stuck on the eighth floor. They figure out that hey, we cannot leave the eighth floor. We're stuck here on the eighth floor. And that's how the episode ends.
That part I at least thought was interesting.
It was interesting, but it was they like telegraphed it because when they kill the little head devil thing, it leaves like a big blood splatter on the wall, and he like looks at the blood splatter. They're like, "Look, blood splatter on the wall. Make sure you pay attention to that." So when they walk up the stairs and then back around, you see the same blood splatter. Like something's up. That's blood. No one else notices, which is again weird. Like they're supposed to be like looking around, like no one else
I
except for
know they
like
didn't. I found that annoying. I'm like, you not gonna freaking look at your surroundings, bro? Aren't you guys like detectives of some kind? And the thing is, like, as soon as they went up the stairs, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be one of those. It's gonna be revolving or like repeating, and you guys are gonna be stuck on this floor and blah blah blah.
yeah. So they're
The
stuck
ghost hand was
on
pretty cool.
that. It was interesting. I'm not exactly sure what a ghost hand like. What are the extent of its abilities besides choking or holding things?
Force choke.
Uh,
I think it's more offensive than defensive because I don't see how you can defend yourself. To be
You can hold
honest,
things back with it.
that's if you can catch it. This seems
It's a,
manual.
it's a ghost hand though. Like I
No,
don't
because
know.
like if it were to protect you from behind, like I don't know, Gara's sand or
No,
whatever.
I think you got to be conscious of what's going on.
Yeah,
It's not just like floating around, like waiting. Like, unless you could put it on like patrol mode, like hey, hand patrol.
yeah.
So either way, uh, that's where we left off. 5 episodes down. Uh, do you think you want to continue watching uh, this series?
Uh, maybe someday. Is if people are gonna pay me to finish it?
Ooh. Well,
Motivation
there's only 12 episodes in the
series.
first season, not series, first season.
Yeah, it just ended a while ago.
So I mean, we'll go back to some Baki, maybe hit some more Baki, then maybe circle back around and
Yeah, sure. Rotate.
hit, hit like 3 episodes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm not like on the edge of my seat, like, oh man, I gotta watch the next episode. Right? Like Baki, I was like, oh yeah, I'm like at least interested enough to go, yeah, I want to see this, what's gonna happen next, right? And this one, I'm just like, it's a thing that I watched for 20 minutes, and I was like, yeah,
That
okay,
you watched 5 times.
five times, 100 times. So yeah, it was. I think it's overblown. I think yes, it's cool. Oh my god, he's got chainsaw arms and he's got a chainsaw head. And I'm like, okay, it's cool design, but maybe I'm just not in the demographic anymore. That's just like impressed by chainsaws. Something I don't know.
I was like, this definitely isn't an end. Is like wanting to not be poor and wanting food. I'm like, yeah, that's relatable to everybody. And then it's like, yes, but I also want to cop a feel. And I'm like, guys will relate to this. This is a guy anime.
100%.
100%.
But then that's why I'm like, when he did touch him, I'd be like, he should have been happy. I don't. Again, I don't think unless
They're
there's
like
another.
emotion. You're gonna add an emotion to a 16-year-old for touching boobs? Boo. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Oh, what did you think of the opening, by the way?
it's alright. It wasn't
Did
nothing.
you did you research the opening at all?
No.
No, okay, so apparently the openings are multiple movie references. I think one of them was a Tarantino reference. I don't know if it was Tarantino or Christopher Nolan or I don't know some big director movie because I have not seen the movie. I think one of them was also Clockwork Orange,
Yeah.
and then a lot of them were like movies from like different countries apparently, and I'm like, oh wow. And so like I noticed that they use whether they use a lot of references to make it look like they're using rotoscope, or they are actually doing rotoscope for a lot of their animations for this show.
Hmm. I guess I got to go back and I watched one opening. I didn't watch like every because like skip opening. Like, I didn't think that it was going to be an important thing to watch all the openings.
All the openings? There's more than one opening?
You know what I mean? Like watch it more than once.
Oh, and
Who?
then the ending changed every episode. That one
Yeah,
I did not expect.
that too. Like once it like okay, episode's over, I like stop watching. Like I don't watch the credits. So
Oh.
so if there's anything in the credits that's are interesting, I missed it.
No, you didn't miss much. It's just a different episode, different ending every episode.
Yeah. Each episode features a different ending theme song. Apparently,
That's what I just said.
I mean, I'm saying not just like the. I thought you meant just the images, but like the
No,
songs
no,
too.
no, no. The songs too.
That's interesting. I mean, I guess it's a thing. Seems wasteful money wise. Like you're gonna pay for a different entrance or exit theme every episode when like 99% of the people aren't gonna watch them.
I was actually reminiscing how like I remember when some animes used to have different ending songs at the end of the episode, and I'm like, when are we gonna get that again? And then I see Chainsaw Man, I'm like, oh snap! Not feeling a lot of these songs personally, but that's pretty cool still.
Like I said, overall, I would say it's like a C show. It's mid. It's not awful, but it's not great either. Uh, you agree, disagree with that assessment?
Um, I mostly agree. C plus.
And let me know in the comments. Let us know in the comments what you think. Do you love Chainsaw Man? Have you watched it? Uh, do you disagree with our assessment? Do you think that we're just jaded, evil humans who don't
Yeah,
understand the nuance and the depth of Chainsaw Man?
you just don't understand.
Yeah, we're just two old folk. At least I'm an old fogey, and Bianca's a young fogey that doesn't understand. What the hell is a fogey? Because I've heard of old fogies, right? Like you're an old fogey. Like so, fogey's got to be a thing. Apparently, you're an old version of it. Somebody let me
I
know. Explain that in the comments. What the hell is a fogey, and why is being an old one bad? Uh, anyway, I think that's all we got. It's been an hour and 8 minutes. We went a little bit over, but that's all I got. You got anything to end this with, Bianca?
um watch more of our reviews or you die. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
And subscribe to Myself in Comics. Watch her stuff. Uh, or you could check her out while she's hanging out with Nerdette over at Nerdette's newsstand.
We have a bad ideas every week. We started playing a game called It Takes Two, where
I
we
played that.
play. Oh yeah, it's. I've never played with anybody online on stream before, so it was pretty fun.
It's an interesting game. I played with Sidekick Max. We were local, so it wasn't online. So,
Nice.
but yeah, it's a fun game. It's interesting. The story is a little heavy, in my opinion. And
Yeah, I thought it
there's
was a game
what
for kids. It is not a game
it's
for kids.
no, it's not. There's a scene. There's a scene later. You haven't got to it yet, but there's a scene that will break you, Bianca. It
Uh
will
oh,
break.
I'm
I didn't
ready.
expect. It came out of left field, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is so horrible." It is like the most horrible thing, but I won't spoil it. But you'll know it when you get to it.
Okay.
With that said, As always, love, peace, booty grease. We out this bitch.